y'all, welcome back to Lily Reads. We are still celebrating Black History Month, and I thought for this week's video we would read some Black books from all different types of things. So basically this is just like my Black fiction video where I just read general Black fiction all over. So there's no real like theme. Like we did YA, we did Tiffany D. Jackson, but this one we are just going to go all over. We are just going to be all over the place just reading works that Black people have put out. And so I picked up 4 books, 1 from the library and 3 that were already on my bookshelf that I've been putting off for a little bit, and that's what we are going to read. So first we have Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. I have heard nothing but positive things about this book. I think Barack Obama put it on his best books of last year or the year, whatever this came out. It was on some Obama list, and I've heard nothing but good things. I've already started a little bit of this book. I'm a little bit confused in what's going on, but we'll get in that in the video. But we are going to be reading Black Cake. This is one of those books where I need to read it during Black History Month, or I will put it off for a really long time. So it's time to get through to it. The next book was an impulse buy at Barnes & Noble one day. This book is called New York, My Village by Uwem Akpan. I picked it up. I love books about New York City. I love all media about New York City, and so I just wanted to pick it up, and I thought this would be a perfect time to read it because this is another book. If I don't get to it soon, I will not get to it. This book scares the living crap out of me. This book is long and the words are not the size I would prefer a book to be. So this is something I am going to have to chew on throughout the week. Like, it's not something I'm going to have to like read in bursts. I'm going to have to chew on it, but I am excited to get to it. The next book we have is Amari and the Night Brothers. I meant to get a copy of this book when this book came out, and I just put it off, and then I didn't read it, but I've heard nothing but good things. And I said in my last video, I want to get the UK hardcovers, but before I buy them, let me make sure I like the book. So I did check this book out from the library, and I really hope I love it so I can read the series. I think the 3rd book is coming out, next year? I don't know. But yeah, it does already have a 2nd book, and yeah, I want to read it. So Amari and the Night Brother by B.B. Alston. And the last book we have is Patience is a Subtle Thief, a novel by Abi Ishola Ayudehi. I'm trying. Patience is a Subtle Thief. This is also a book I picked up. I think I ordered this book. I don't think I picked it up at the bookstore. I think I ordered this book. And yeah, another book that I need to get to, or I never will. I like to use Black History Month because I'm only reading Black books to really make a dent in the Black books that I own. I want to read. I have no problem having a bunch of books in other sections of my library, but when it comes to like the Black authors, I want most of them to be read. Like, I can save the other ones for whenever, but when it comes to Black, I like to be pretty timely on them, if that makes sense. So we are going to read those 4 books, and let's get into the video. The first book that we are going to be reading in this video is Black Cake. Okay, peace. Okay, you guys, I am here to give you guys my initial thoughts on Black Cake. If you've read this book, then you know I'm enjoying this book. This book is so me. When it comes to intergenerational trauma type stories, sign me up. How many Memphis, Call Baby, and the list goes on. Like Vanishing Half, even though I didn't love the Vanishing Half. But like Take My Hand, how the one-armed woman sweeps her house. Yeah, I just love them. I just love them so much, and this book is not disappointing. So in this book, we have 2 children. They're not children anymore. They're in California. They're adults, but they are the child of this woman named Eleanor, and Eleanor has died, so their mother is dead, and they have been left an inheritance by their mother in a black cake. That has been the most shocking part of reading this book, because this book is actually about black cake. I just thought black cake meant something that I didn't know what it meant, but no, it's really about a black cake. They have been left an inheritance, and in that inheritance is a voice recording. And in the voice recording, their mom says she wants to tell them about a sister that they had. And so this voice recording starts, and in this voice recording, we are taken back to this island in the Caribbean, and there is this woman who is an excellent swimmer, and she is telling us about her life on this island and how her life transpired while she was on this island. Now, I'm only on page 98, so I don't know what fully is going to happen with her on this island, but that is pretty much what is going on right now. And so from this voice recording, we're going to see what has happened with this sister that they don't know. These children do not know. And basically, the two children have their own story. They are both kind of estranged from each other, and they also didn't have quite a good relationship with their mom. The daughter, she is bisexual, I think she's bi. And basically, that caused a rift between her and her mother. She felt like her parents didn't really understand her. And then you have the son. The son is kind of just like a little bit bitter, because he had to take care of his mom in death, and the sister wasn't there. So he just, he's dealing with all his own stuff. So they don't really talk very much, the two siblings. And so they're just sitting around listening to this voice recording, and we're hearing the story as if we're listening to the voice recording too. And like, it's just so good. It's just, I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know the full stories. I don't see the entire forest, but I just love when we just go back in time and we hear about someone's story that's going to lead to us into the present day. I love it so much. That is my favorite way to be told a story. I'm telling you, I'm only on page 98, and I usually like to come to you guys a little bit earlier, but I didn't come to you guys a little bit earlier because I feel like I'm going to just sprint the rest of this book today. I have nothing to do. I'm home alone, and I'm just like, let me just finish this book. You guys, you want to know what's really stopped me from reading this book? I don't like these types of covers. I know. It's like the Vanishing Half type cover, the cover with all the colors. So think Love and Marriage has the exact same type cover. Yeah, I don't like them. I don't like them. This is just a really popular cover type to use for like black stories right now, like black fiction, black lit fic, and I don't like it. It like activates something like my vertigo that I just can't get behind. I say it all the time, but I don't like this, so it stops me from reading the book. And you don't really know what the book is about based off of these covers. I like Wahala has kind of the same type cover too. It doesn't really do much for me. But anyway, so if there was ever a cover change, or if the UK cover looks different, I would go get that, because I'm enjoying the hell out of the book, but the cover, it just leaves so much to be desired for me. But anyways, I will see you guys back with either some more thoughts when I get deeper in the story of what's really going on, because I just don't know much yet. I'm only on page 98. Or with my final thoughts when I've just like marathoned it through. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Peace. I'm here, you guys, for another update on Black Cake. I am absolutely adoring this book. I am way further into the book. Things are a lot more clear. You want to know what I would compare this book to? I would compare this book to The Seven Husbands. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I had to make sure that was the name of the book. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That's what I would compare this book to. This is a book about where you're hearing this woman tell you this story about the different things that have happened in her life, and what you expect to happen isn't what happened. It's convoluted. It's all over the place, but you're just hearing about a really interesting woman and the things that have happened in her life that have led her to different places. And it's just really good. I don't know. This is just my type of book. I thought this book was going to be boring. I'm so honest with you. I put this book off because I genuinely thought it was going to be boring. I did think eventually in the end I would get it, but I really thought I was going to think this book was really boring. But boy, was I wrong. This book is so excellent. This book is so excellent because not only does it have like the deepness, you thinking about, the different things in your life, what you expect from a book like this, but it's also just interesting. It's just interesting to hear about this woman's life. I love hearing about women's lives and the things that they have been through, and them constantly having to, switch gears and change what they want in their life, and always going after their desires and the things that get in their way. I just love it. So I just wanted to come back and say I am loving this book. We're still dealing with the same thing. These two children are listening to their mother's tape and what's going on in her life, and it's making them question things about their life. We've learned some more things about the two children and, you know, their relationship with each other and their relationship with the outside world. It's just all working for me. It's just all working for me. So anyways, I just wanted to say that the next time I do come and talk about this book, it will be the end of this book because I would love to finish this book tonight. So the next time you see me, I will be done with this book and I will give my final thoughts on this book. Okay? Peace. Hello, you guys. I have finished our first book of this video, and the reason why I'm saying that like that is that I have been reading Black Cake for like the past 5 days. For like the past 5 days, I have been reading Black Cake, but I have officially finished it, and it was worth all the time it took to read it. I am giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. It is by Charmaine Wilkerson. So first book of the video, it is 5 out of 5 stars. This book just worked in all ways for me. This book is almost like a love story to me. Like everything that I enjoy in a book was put in this book. This book is not going to be amazing for everyone. I say that because if you don't like slow burns, if you don't like generational stories about people, if you don't like stories with a bunch of pieces, and even when you get the full puzzle that the book is trying to get across, it still may not be this like glorious thing. This is not for you. But for someone like me who just loves, I love the pieces. It's not about the end puzzle. I love the pieces. I love seeing the pieces come together. That's what I love about this book. This book had so many pieces, so many characters, and they all worked for me. Each and every character was so interesting. If I had to get in my philosophical bag, I believe this book is just a story about all the people who make your identity and all the people who had to overcome so many things for you to exist, especially if you are like a Black person from a place where slavery has taken over and colonization has taken over. A lot of times, you know that you being here means that a lot of people were able to triumph and a lot of people were able to have so many victories for you to exist, because as Black people, we have faced so much persecution and so much violence. And so for you to be able to exist, it means that so many people had to be victorious in so many things. And I think that's what this book shows. This book shows those stories. It shows the stories and it shows the defeats, but it shows the victories. And it shows the different ways that just small little things can lead to big things. I just thought this book was absolutely excellent. I think if you are a Black person from the Caribbean, a Black person from America, a Black person from Europe, a Black person from Australia, you could really appreciate this book. And then I think if you're a Black person anyway or across the diaspora, you would also like this book. But this book just really worked for me in so many ways. I am someone, that's why I'm doing this for Black History Month. I just love hearing about older Black people. I just think it's so important, and that's why I celebrate Black History Month. And this book just was like the perfect thing for me. Just stories about Black people, and then other races of people also are in this book. I just thought this book was brilliant. So we're gonna move on because I just feel like, even though for you guys it's only been minutes, I have been like eating at this book for so long. Let's move on to the next book. Let me go get it. The next book that we are reading for this video is Amari and the Night Brothers. I have already read 10 pages of this book, and boy, am I loving it. Like from page 1, I was already into this book, and it just seems to be getting better. I genuinely believe I'm going to give this book 5 stars, and that's saying a lot because I just started the book, but I'm thinking we're going to get back-to-back 5 stars. That's my prediction, but I am going to eat a little bit more, and then I will come back and tell you like what my initial thoughts are, what's really going on in the plot. But thus far, that's already surprised me. I had no clue what I thought this book was about, but it's blowing me away. I came in literally with no expectations. I knew I was going to like it. Everyone who I respect likes this book, so I knew I was going to like it, but I'm like really enjoying it. Like I can't wait to get back to it. Like I'm trying to hurry up and fix dinner so I can get back to you get it? It's just it's really working for me. So that's the next book. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. You guys, this video is becoming unserious in every single way. If you guys knew how long I've been reading the books for this video, and I've only read 2, you would see how unserious this video has become. It took me 4 days to read Amari and the Night Brothers. I finished this entire book. I never even came on here and gave you guys initial thoughts on this book because I was about to come and give you guys initial thoughts, and then I was just like, there's really not much else I can say from my initial thoughts and my end thoughts without spoiling anything. So I might as well just come and do everything together, tell you what the book is about, tell you my thoughts on the book, and call the book. Okay, so we have Amari and the Night Brothers. This book is following a black girl who is in middle school. She goes to this prestigious middle school, but one day she gets in a fight with this white girl at her school because the white girl likes to pick on her for being black and being poor. So she fights the white girl, and because she does that, she loses her scholarship at the school. So she's feeling low on herself. Her mother does everything that she can to give Amari the best life, but their dad left. And so she's, she's burning the candlestick on both ends, trying to make Amari have a good life. But also something tragic happened in their life. Her brother is missing, and people make fun of her about her brother missing because she believes that her brother is somewhere out there, but everyone else believes that he probably got involved in some gang activity, some drug activity, and he's dead. He's not missing, he's dead. But Amari keeps hope. But since her brother's been missing, her behavior has been out of control and crazy. So one day she is sitting at home, and she's beefing with her mama a little bit because she don't got a scholarship to the school that she was going to, and her mom wanted her to go to this school to make something of herself. It was a good opportunity, but she receives a package from some random person, and they tell her that the package is from her brother, and she's like, how the hell does my brother send me a package if my brother is missing? And the guy's like, it's not my job to understand that. I just deliver the packages. And so once she receives the package, she goes through all the things she has to do to open up the package. She meets her brother. Her brother comes and it's like, hey, Amari, I want to show you something. So Amari and her brother go on this journey, and basically her brother shows her the magic world, this world of all types of magic and, people having special powers and all that stuff. And she's introduced to this entire new realm. But she realizes once her brother tells her that her brother is actually not there. He's only there in spirit, almost like a hologram. He's not actually in front of her because he is still missing. He's missing in their current world, and he's missing in this magic world. But the reason why he has sent this package is because he wants to invite Amari to come join this world and see if she can be a magical being. He is one of the most prestigious magical beings that there is, and when you do that, you get to invite people to come be a part of this magic world. And he feels like he has had so many great things happen for himself being in this magic world, and he wants Amari to be able to experience all of this. But the only issue is, he says that if she's seeing this message, it means that something really bad has happened to him, because he only made this message, this box, if he couldn't deliver the message himself. And so because she is receiving his package, it means that something has happened to him. And so of course Amari wants to go to this magic world and see what has happened to her brother, and that starts Amari's journey in Amari and the Night Brothers. I am giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. This book was so damn good. What I enjoyed about this book is it had so much fantastical things, but it still kept the heart of Amari. We meet Amari, and she's not a magical being in the beginning, and you see who she is as a person, and I love that she remains that person throughout the entire book. She's constantly calling back to who she was as just a poor black girl living in the projects. I loved it. You get this almost urban type character, but it's in this like fantastical world, and that juxtaposition is oh so rich. I absolutely adored it. I think when it comes to fantasy, because I take a book like Witchling as well, I love when these like magic systems have different like sectors, like everyone isn't all the same and you kind of have to be picked or chosen to be a certain thing. It's almost like academia. I love the idea of that. It brings me so much joy going through different tests in order to become the magical being that you are. And I just loved it. I love this idea of them all being at a summer camp. That's the best thing I think about this book, is the idea of everyone being at a summer camp, everyone choosing their own specialty, Amari trying to figure out what her specialty is. I loved it. Another thing I really loved was Amari's relationship with her roommate turned best friend. I loved it. I loved the roommate and her magical abilities. I really did love everything about this book. This is a library copy, so you know I already purchased my own copy. I purchased a copy of this, and I purchased Amari and the Great Game, which is the sequel. I don't know if there's going to be more books in this. I probably should have looked that up before, but if there is more books than beyond the 2 books, I'm going to wait to read the second book till we get at least 1 more book after that, if that's how it goes. And now if it's just 2 novels, then I'll just read it. But this is why I never finish series, because this is the idea that I have in my head. I tell myself that if I'll wait to read it till I get the 3rd book or the 4th book or the 5th book, and then I just stop caring and I end up with a sequel, a whole series just sitting on my bookshelf that I ain't never touched. But I feel like I will 100% return to Amari. I love this book. If you have not read this book, I don't know where you have been. I know why I haven't read it, but I don't know why y'all ain't read it yet if you have not read this book. But I really loved it. It blew me away. Such a good book. There were plot twists that I loved. It was just really good. So I will be reading Amari and the Great Game, 5 out of 5 stars. So wow, that's crazy. We have 2 back-to-back 5 out of 5 stars. We're doing really well. So we're going to move on to the next book, which is Patience is a Subtle Thief. We are 100% going to read this, but I am unsure if we are going to get to the last book in this video just because of time. Time is going to turn into an issue, and neither of these books are all that small. So we are going to read Patience is a Subtle Thief by Abby Ishola Ayudehi. And yeah, that's what we're going to read, and I will tell you guys my initial thoughts. I'm sure I will come with initial thoughts on this one, even though I didn't come with initial thoughts on the last book. Okay. I will see you guys then. Peace. Hello, you guys. Sorry for the terrible lighting, but I have to come to you guys for an intro to Patience is a Subtle Thief. Okay, I saved the last 2 books of this video for last. Patience is a Subtle Thief and New York, My Village, because I genuinely did not think I was going to enjoy them. I am just not in the era right now where I can read boring books. Not boring books, but like books that just, take a lot of time. The journey is the destination. I'm not in that vibe right now. I'm in a mood to just read things that pack a punch immediately, that are exciting, that are fun to read. That's why I loved Amari. And then I already read Black Cake earlier in this video, and that was really slow, and I think that kind of met my quota for like slow books for the month. I just was not in the mood to read any slow books. So really in my spare time, I've been reading a lot of like short books, like 250-page books, just to get books that get to the point. So I did not want to pick up Patience is a Subtle Thief because I felt like it was going to be a book like that. Like, I think I would be able to appreciate it, but I thought it was going to be boring. Well, let me tell you what this book is about. Then let me tell you my thoughts on it. So this book follows a girl named Patience. She is an American-born Nigerian, and she is back in Nigeria living with her father. She has lived with her father in Nigeria since she was 8 years old. Her father is like an official. He has money. She lives a very privileged life, but her daddy is kind of, he don't really give her no money. She doesn't really, live like someone in Nigeria would live who has money, because her dad likes to teach her like responsibility, the value of $1. And so he just doesn't, she goes to boarding school, but all the people at the boarding school live better than her. She has to like beg people for money and do odd things for money because her dad doesn't give her any money. But the thing is, she lives with her dad and her stepmom because she actually does not know her mom. Her mom and dad met at Howard University in DC, and then they moved to Nigeria, but the mom didn't move to Nigeria. Or maybe she did for a little bit. Yeah, she did for a little bit, and then she moved out of Nigeria. She moved back to the States, and she was going to take Patience, but for some reason, she never came back for Patience, and Patience has just lived with her father and her stepmom and her half-sister ever since. But Patience has grown up, and Patience is headed off to college. She is going to go to college in Lagos. And basically, this is the story of Patience trying to find her freedom as a sheltered girl. Patience is trying to make her way back to the United States to see her mother, but her father has other plans. So basically, Patience is trying to see what she can do to make it back to the United States, to meet back up with her mother and figure out what happened with her mother. I don't know why I said that synopsis so slow, but really, that's really all that's going on. I'm loving the hell out of this. I am loving the hell out of this. I said everything before about how I wasn't into a slow story, a building story, and I lied. This book is very slow. I have no clue what the point is. Like, I wish I could come and tell you, like, events that have happened, stuff that is going on. No, nothing has actually happened. There haven't been any big events, haven't been any real huge conflicts. You're just hearing about Patience in her life in Lagos, her life with her cousin's friend who is kind of her boyfriend now. And you're hearing about her life and how she's struggling to get to America and all the dysfunction and chaos that she's finding herself in. We're also learning about Patience's life before we met her and the stuff that she's been through. It's all just really interesting. I don't know what to tell you. It's just really interesting hearing about this girl. It's a really interesting story. Yeah, it's slow though. Like, it's slow. It's not like, I wish I could come on here and tell you so many things that's going on, but it's just not that. Like, it's a slow book. You're hearing about Patience. You know she's about to get roped up into some bullshit because she's so desperate. And basically her daddy doesn't want her to go back to America. Things seem to be odd about what happened between her mom and her dad before her mom went back to America. And you're just learning, Some things are kind of shysty about her boyfriend. Patience is a little naive because she grew up so sheltered, and so she's trying to learn the ropes with that. Her cousin is shady that she's been hanging out with. She hasn't been going to class. There's just so much going on, but you're just following Patience in this book. So I'm going to finish it, and I'll tell you my final thoughts, but I'm enjoying the hell out of this book. I can't believe this video is going so well. I can't believe my reading month is going so well. Last Black History Month, last February, I had the best reading month of like my life last February. I think 4 of the books that were in my best books of 2022 came from February 2022. And when I first started this month, I had a couple 4 stars, something, but like nothing I was really passionate about. So I was like, maybe this is just my flop Black History Month era. Like, the books aren't going to be this good this Black History Month. But towards the middle, and now we're at the end, it's eating. It's absolutely eating. I adored the book club pick. I love this book. I loved Amari. I love Black Cake. I love Recitative. Like, I love 16 and Pregnant. Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. I'm getting like 5 out of 5 stars. Like, whoa. Like, whoa. So maybe this Black History Month this might actually outdo my Black History Month of last year. I don't know. Anyways, I will see you guys when I'm not eating a Jolly Rancher. Sorry about that. And when I'm done with Patience is a Subtle Thief, which I need to finish really soon so we can get into New York, My Village. Because that book is fucking long. Okay, peace. Hello, you guys. We are here to wrap up Patience is a Subtle Thief. I'm going to go ahead and give this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book more than I thought I would. I had no clue what this book was about going into it, and I think that's what really helped me enjoy this book. I was surprised. It was a nice story. It is a really slow book, so I do not think this book is for everyone. If you're someone who wants more of a book that's quick and fast, this is not for you. But I like character-driven books. I like when we are taken to a specific destination. I have to learn about this new place and these new rules and these new ideas. I really like that. It's historical fiction. I guess it would be like, I mean, it takes place in 1993, so whatever you want to do with it, it would be, because they talk about like presidency in Nigeria and all that. So if you're not really into more of a historical book, I wouldn't do that. But it's not like heavy historical fiction. You actually forget this book takes place in 1993, except for like some of the stuff that happens is some stuff that would only be able to happen in like back in the day, because some of the stuff they do, no one will be able to get away with in the year 2023. But I will say, I did not, the double entendre of this title did not hit me till way after it should have. Patience is a Subtle Thief. Patience is a Subtle Thief. That hit me like way later than it should have. The reason why I am going to take a star away from this book, and I'm comfortable taking a star away from this book is very, very slow. We get to know these characters, all the stuff that they're doing. Then you get to the last about 30, 40 pages of this book, and it all just rushes by. It just rushes by really quickly. Before you know it, so much stuff is happening, and I think because so much stuff is happening all in a short period of time and the rest of the book moves rather slow, it's really hard for you to take in. Like, you're waiting for certain moments to happen because you know certain moments are going to happen in this book, and so when they happen and they happen so quickly, you just don't get that effect that you would have expected to get when you get to these moments in the book. I just think the ending was really rushed. So I think if we would have done a better job at like pacing the story better, the ending wouldn't have felt so rushed. I did like the narrative choice of not including certain things at the end. I find that so interesting when like you're reading a book and you're slowly creeping along the book, and then the author makes a decision to like leave certain stuff out of the book and be like, that's for another time. I really enjoy that part of the book. It's kind of like, because it feels real, how like when you hear someone tell a story, they don't tell you their entire story, they tell you fragments of their story, and it's like, hey, we might get into this another time. I do enjoy when people make that narrative choice, but there were just, the ending felt a little bit rushed to me. So I am going to give this book 4 stars, but I do not regret picking it up. I'm happy I picked it up, and yeah, it was really, really good, and I have not heard anyone talk about it, so 4 out of 5 stars for that. So we're doing good. We got a 5-star Black Cake. I've been going back and forth on Black Cake. I kind of want to give Black Cake a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I've been going back and forth. I've read a lot of 5-star books this month, believe it or not. Not a lot, but I've read some 5-star books. And something about Black Cake, I don't want to go revisit Black Cake. I'm thinking of other, like, I can't wait to read the next Amari book. The book club book. I can't wait to read it again. Allegedly by Tiffany Jackson gagged me, you know? But then when I think of Black Cake, which I gave, recitative, love, like I could talk about it for days. Black Cake doesn't really fit in that number. I am not that passionate about Black Cake. I'm going to move Black Cake to a 4 out of 5 stars because I'm feeling like I feel the same way about Black Cake as I feel about Patience is a Subtle Thief. Yes, I like this book slightly more, so I am going to put it to a 4.5. So maybe I should stick with it being a 5. I don't know. The excitement. Maybe that's just the type of book that Black Cake is. That it's just never going to be this like really exciting book. I don't know. Something about Black Cake makes me not want to give it 5 stars. But maybe I'm just being nasty. Because I view these two books exactly almost the same. Anyways, let's move on. We'll get on that later. We are going to read New York, My Village. I said we might not get to it. I'm a liar. We're going to get to it. I just feel like there's no point in waiting. I'd rather push other videos back to get this video done and all these books read, because these are books that I've been really wanting to read, and I wanted to read them during Black History Month. So in this book, we are following a man that is from Nigeria, and he is headed to New York City. And we are going to hear about all his trials, his tribulations as someone who is on a work visa in New York City. I'm really excited to get into this. I can tell you a little bit of stuff about it. The reason why I know those things about it is because I've already started reading it, and so far so good. So I will come back with my initial thoughts on this book, and then we'll wrap up the video. Peace. Hello, you guys. I am here for, I look naked. I'm not. I am here for the first update of New York, My Village. I'm not very far in New York, My Village. New York, My Village is a really, really long book. It's about 400 pages, but I think everything that's going to happen in this book has kind of like happened. Like more stuff is going to happen, but I can describe to you the book and how the book is going, and I don't think there's going to be any huge tone shifts, any huge narrative shifts that like I'll need to come and update you on. So I'm at a good spot. So in this book, we are following, what is this guy's name? I don't think they tell us his name. Ekong? 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 Ekong. Ekong is his name. I'm trying to make, his name is Ekong. So in this book, we are following Ekong. Ekong is from Nigeria, and he wants to get his work visa because he has been picked to go work on this anthology about war in Nigeria. There's going to be an entire anthology about like war in Africa and war in Nigeria, and he is going to be the editor of this at a publishing house. And so he is trying to get his visa so he can go work on this thing. But as he is going to get his visa in Nigeria, he goes down to the American embassy in Nigeria. He runs into a lot of issues that he didn't think was going to happen. And what this book is really doing is really interesting. Okay, so usually when we get stories out of Nigeria, we get stories from the big tribes, like the big, I don't want to say popular tribes because I 100% don't believe that's the right word, but the tribes that a lot of people come from. There seems to be a focus on specific tribes in Nigeria. And when he goes to get his visa, he realizes that people are trying to erase him because he is not from these big tribes. People are almost acting like he's non-existent. So he's run into this thing where if he's from one of these bigger tribes, or he pretends like he's from one of these bigger tribes, people already have this preconceived notion of him that, you know, he's corrupt, or he's someone who like believes in war and he believes in all this stuff. Like, oh, did you rape and pillage people? Like that's the racist connotation that people have towards him if he tries to claim he's from a bigger tribe. But he's not from one of those bigger tribes. He's from a smaller tribe, but he's learned, even though because he's not part of those bigger tribes, he doesn't get those negative connotations put on him. People like to pretend like he just doesn't exist at all. He's trying to explain to the people at the embassy what his like tribe is, and he says we're a small tribe, like we've been really like war ridden, like a lot of people don't know about us, our village was pillaged and all of this stuff, so a lot of people don't know about us because we just, you know, we ain't making a lot of noise. We kind of just, we're to ourselves. We're not one of the bigger ones. And so everyone thinks he's lying. Everyone thinks he's lying. They want him to show proof of documentation that his tribe even exists. So whenever he goes to get his visa, they constantly ask him questions about his tribe, and it makes him feel invisible and it makes him feel worthless. So he has a terrible time getting his visa, but he does eventually get his visa and he heads off to New York City. But when he's coming through customs in New York City, he runs into this exact same thing. This idea that people believe that he's trying to scam the system, that he's trying to run away from war and bring chaos into America. Like, he gets this exact same thing. And so he's still, once again, questioning himself. And as he gets to New York, as he's in New York, he's running into this same thing of people either trying to put their own beliefs onto him or trying to make him seem invisible. So throughout this story, you are following this man as he's trying to get an understanding of where he came from, trying to have pride in where he came from without trying to be what people want him to be. For example, the forward of the anthology that he's supposed to be editing, they want him to write a forward for it. And he's like, okay, I can do that. But then someone's like, no, you should write an entire autobiography about yourself. And he doesn't want to do that because he feels like that's what they want of me. They want me to talk about being, a child of war and all the stuff that I've been through and all the things that I've gone through. So he's kind of like pushed that idea aside. But also on the other hand, he's like, these are things that I experience and these are things that I need to talk through. And if anybody can tell this story, why not me? And so he's dealing with this thing. And I think it's really, really brilliant. I think it's really this idea of trying to make yourself smaller because you don't want people to perceive you a certain way. But in that making yourself smaller, you almost make yourself invisible. And no one wants to be invisible either because you have things that you want to share, It's what I always talk about on this channel. This idea of we don't want the same type of Black stories about, Black trauma and all of those things. But also when you don't give a voice to those things, it makes it seem like those things don't exist. It makes people's existence feel invisible. And you don't want that as well. And that's what he's struggling with. And like coming into New York, this place where everyone is from different places, he's trying to find his footing and who he is as this person in America and also who he was as this person in Africa. I'm really enjoying this book. I'm enjoying what this book is trying to do. It's really interesting. The dialogue is really good. Hearing about Ekong's past is really good. I am probably butchering his name. But anyways, I am enjoying it. I'm going to eat on it some more and I will come back with my final thoughts. Okay, peace. Hey, you guys. I look terrible. I just did Tabata and I'm about to wash my hair. So I'm deep conditioning right now. But I have to come and give you guys my final thoughts on New York, my village. I've been waiting to come back and give my final thoughts for a good 24 hours because I don't know how to feel about this book. You guys, I could go as low and rate this book a 3. And I also could go as high and rate this book a 4.5. This book is doing a lot of interesting things. A lot of interesting things. And I don't know how I feel about them. The biggest thing that this book is doing is this whole storyline about our main character having bed bugs. On the surface, it's just a story about him having bed bugs and how his landlord won't get rid of the bed bugs and what the bed bugs does to his mind. But then the English major in me knows that this is like a metaphor for something else. The author is using this to describe something else that goes on in America. I think it's used to describe the racism, the landlord not getting rid of the bed bugs constantly infecting everyone in the building, and him constantly calling the exterminator to get rid of the bed bugs, but the exterminator never really comes and gets rid of the bed bugs, and then putting your name on the list for the exterminator to come and you getting so excited for this relief that's gonna come, but this relief seems to never come. And up until the last page of the book, our main character has bed bugs, and it's a metaphor. I'm right at the tip of my tongue of what it's a metaphor. Obviously, racism. It's this idea of it's so cheap to just say the American dream, but it's that. It's this idea that you come to America and you think, or you live in America and you think you're going to get rescued, you're going to be saved, you're going to have freedom, and you've escaped the atrocities of the world. And so when you come in and you realize that you have all of these problems, America constantly gives you new ways that it's going to fix it. Like, okay, we're dealing with police brutality, but here's this new law that's going to help with that. Or we're dealing with immigration issues. Here's a new law that's going to help with that. We're dealing with this. Here's this new law that's going to help with that. And so you put your name on the list to like, okay, all my problems are going to be solved. But it's an empty promise. It's an empty promise. You still keep having these issues that keep on occurring, and it just keeps infecting more and more people. But the characters in the book almost seem to find community in their bedbug issue. They find community in all of them having bedbugs. And it's so weird. But also, that's what people do when it comes to their misfortune in America. Through our misfortune, we do find community. And so it's really interesting what this book is doing with the bedbugs. And I'm not even sure if that's 100% true. I think this would be a great book to read in like a class or a book club. Because on your own, you're left with so much. You're left with so much to try to decipher and try to understand. And it's really, really hard. I can 100% see people despising this book. I do not despise this book. But this book has moments in it. Sorry, you guys. I just hit the camera. This book has moments in it that are just absolutely genius. Like when he's traveling through New York and the different people that he meets in New York, he meets Hoteps, he meets Christians, he meets so many different types of like people that all make up New York City. He meets so many different Black people that all make up the Black experience in America, and they have such interesting conversations with each other, and it's so interesting. But then on the flip side of that, this book sometimes feels a little bit lost. It gets lost in its own premise. It gets to the point of rambling. It gets to the point of confusion. It gets to the point of losing itself. Oftentimes in this book, I feel like the narrative gets a little lost. And this book is long, you spend like 40 pages on something and you're just like, that could have been edited out, you know? Because this book is just really long. And so I think sometimes the book loses itself. So even though you have these moments that are really, really genius, and the rambling seems like it matters, right? You get other parts of the book where the rambling just feels misguided. It feels like it has no direction. I'm sure it does. It's just, is it showing me anything I couldn't have learned in the last ramble, you know? I love the characters in this book. I thought the different ways that the characters were being used was really interesting. There's some stuff that's not really explained in this book, but I don't know if I have an issue. I don't know how to feel. I do not know how to feel. You guys might have to wait till Goodreads to see what I logged this book as. I never wanted to put it down. I'm going to be honest with you. This is me just going off my head of what I should rate this book. I never wanted to put this book down, like at all. Like the narrative voice in this book is so strong and so interesting. And this is unlike a book that I've read before. And that's really interesting. But just because something is unique does not make something great or good. And that's where I'm back and forth. I'm back and forth on really, like, no, this book is pretty genius. Like, they tried something and I think it worked. And also on this place, like, I don't get it. I'm also wanting to give it 3 stars because I'm just like, I don't get the damn book. I don't get the book because there's so much in here I just do not get. That's why I think this book would be great in a discussion form. And then not a lot of people have read this book. I went to Goodreads and just not a lot of people have read this book. It has a low Goodreads score, but like only 54 people have reviewed it. So it means like if a bunch of people give it 3 or 4 stars, you're going to look at a 3.5 review. Like, so it doesn't mean no one's read the book, basically. So there's not much I can go off of there either. I am going to give this book 4 stars. 4 stars. I'm gonna give this book 4 stars. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. Anyways, I am going to look better, not very much better, because I literally I'm gonna take a shower, but I am gonna have the shower cap not on my head anymore. And I will give you my final thoughts on this. We have some things. Will I keep New York, My Village at 4 stars? I'll think about it while I'm washing my hair. Will I keep Black Cake at 4.5 or keep it at its 5? I already know the answer to that, but I'll let you guys know. And then we'll see. We'll wrap up the video though, and I'll tell you what my final reviews of these books are going to be. Okay, peace. Hello, you guys. I am back with a fresh wash and go. That's the end of this video. This was not a vlog. Like, I didn't go nowhere with y'all. We literally just talked about the books, but that is because this video has just gone longer than I expected. It just took a really long time to read all the books. I told you it took me 4 days to read Amari and the Night Brothers, and it's a middle grade books. The words on the page about this big, and it took me 4 days to read it. So like, this video just went longer, so stuff I was doing, I included in like other vlogs, so the recitative vlog and stuff like that. And now I'm moving on to my next vlog that you guys will see in the next video. But I do want to talk about the books that I read in this video, because overall I do believe we had an amazing reading vlog. This is so interesting. I find it so... I love when I do videos like this, when I just pick 4 random books that really have no connection to each other. The only connection these books have is that Black people wrote all of them, but other than that, that's the only thing that make them the same. And I love it because it allows me to move around. It allows for me to like read books that are kind of different. So I just felt like this was a really good mix of books. So let's discuss. The first book we read in this video was Black Cake. I am leaving Black Cake exactly where I had it at, which is a 5-star. I'm leaving it at 5 stars. When I was editing this video, because I had the whole video edited up into this clip, obviously, I went back and listened to what I said about Black Cake, and it all just came rushing back to me. I really enjoyed this book. I really respected this book, and this book was a moment for me. It was a moment for me. I am giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I think you should pick it up. Now, if you're not someone who likes these like generational inner turmoil type stories, this would not be for you. I know some people just really don't like that style of book. I am not one of them. That is my favorite type of book to read, when you're just dealing with a family and all of their history. I love it so much. If you have a book recommendation for something like that, put it down below, because I always love them. I never don't love. The Vanishing Half is probably the lowest I've ever given a book like that, but even The Vanishing Half I thought was fine. So Black Cake, 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that we read was Amari and the Night Brothers. I still don't have my own personal copy yet. It's in the mail. It'll get here one of these days. But I'm giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely adored it. If you have not read it yet, please do. If you have a child in your life who has not read this, please give it to them. I loved it. I cannot wait to read the second one. I told myself I would look up if there's a third one after that, but I haven't looked it up yet, so I don't know what to tell you. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that we read was Patience is a Subtle Thief. This is probably the most surprising book that I read in this video, because I expected to really go in this book and just be kind of like on it, like just something that wasn't my taste. I picked it up. It was an impulse buy. I saw a Black girl on the cover. I saw a Black person wrote it. I picked this up like in late last year, and so I was just not that excited about it. And I really enjoyed my time reading this book. I do think it didn't fully hit the beats that it should have hit, but I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was an enjoyable reading experience. If I had to make a list so far of the books I've read this year that would be in my most surprising books of the year, this would go in it, because this was really, it wasn't what I expected it to be. The last book that we read was New York, My Village. This is where I said I didn't know what I was going to give this book. I'm giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. This is a book that I 100% think I'm going to revisit in the future because there's just so much going on in this book. This book is so long. This book has so many elements. This book has so many characters. This book has so many moments, and I just think it's something that I really have to like chew on and really sink my teeth into. I don't think the way that I read this book in this video is really conducive to a productive way of reading this book, of understanding this book, because this book is doing a lot, and I don't think I fully understand everything that this book was doing. But for this book to be so long, I just really enjoyed the reading experience of this book. Now, the bed bugs part of this book made me itch. Like, if you're going to read this book, there are times that you are going to be physically uncomfortable. When he is talking about them having bed bugs, it makes you itch. It just does. People talking about, having bites and stuff, it's going to make you itch. And it takes up most of the book. So if you can't stomach that, this is not the one for you. But I enjoyed it. So that is the end of this video. Black History Month is drawing close to an end, but we have read so many Black books, and that to me is an accomplishment. We read nothing but Black books over here. I don't know what the rest of the girls doing, but over here we've read nothing but Black books this month, and that is a accomplishment, because I just feel like so often Black fiction gets pushed to the side when it comes to content creation. There's a lot of people don't talk about Black fiction and content when, like, popular content creators, booktubers, TikTokers, they don't talk about the Black books, the new Black books. So that's another thing that often happens as well. A lot of times, because Black fiction has such a rich history, so many amazing Black authors before. That's why I'm totally against the people talking negatively about Black authors over on TikTok. Y'all are weird over there. Black fiction has such a rich history, and a lot of times we talk about that rich history because so often it was pushed in the shadows, so it's really fun to go back and like uncover and talk about all these amazing Black authors. But at the same time, I do want to focus on the amazing Black authors who are writing amazing Black fiction right now. It's something we can do both at the same time. We can have a Toni Morrison video, and we can do a video about all the Black authors that are writing books right now. So you have a video coming your way soon, one last Black History Month video, which will highlight my favorite thing about Blackness and Black fiction, but we'll get on that then. Okay, anyways, I've rambled enough. I will see you guys in the next